DeShaun Foster out at UCLA. I'm completely and utterly shocked. Oh, wait. No, I am not. Who should they hire?
You are Locked On College Football with Spencer McLaughlin, your daily podcast on all things college football. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Locked On College Football. I'm your host, Spencer McLaughlin. Thank you all so much for making this your first listen or your first view. Every day, it's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and your daily source to stay up to date with the biggest stories in the greatest sport on planet Earth. Brent Pry is done at Virginia Tech. Thoughts and reactions on that. It's not a good day for coaches who were one game away from being relieved of their duties. Is that where Pat Narduzzi is at? Over at Pitt after the Backyard Brawl? That will all be discussed on today's show, which is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app today. So DeShaun Foster, after an embarrassing performance on Friday night, is let go. Why? Because he was never the right guy in the first place. And I understand that UCLA was in a difficult position because Chip Kelly left so late in the cycle and coaches and coordinators had, for the most part, already been hired. You essentially, at a non-traditional power, needed to find someone that would do what Bill O'Brien did, that resulted in Chip Kelly going to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State and leaving a job they already committed to. Coaches have done that before, but you know what? That was never the way UCLA should have looked at the situation. If you're upset that Chip Kelly left you in this spot as a UCLA fan, I'm not going to hold that against you because you're completely valid in feeling that. Went through the entire coaching carousel cycle, started recruiting guys. The signing day in February came around, and then he was gone. I mean, you're going, well, wait a minute. You couldn't have done this back in December? You couldn't have done this in January even? If you have that frustration, I get it. You should be more or equally frustrated at the UCLA administration for going with the cheap, expedient option. A guy who'd never been a coordinator before, meaning he wasn't going to command as much money from an athletic department that doesn't have the greatest financial situation to begin with. And a guy who, oh wait, hadn't been a coordinator before and probably is making too big of a leap to go from running backs coach to full-time head coach. If you wanted to make him the interim head coach and give him a chance for a year, I could have understood that. Like what Stanford is doing right now, who won a game, by the way. Stanford won a game over the weekend. Did not see that one coming. Tough look for Boston College in the ACC. But I look at what UCLA could have done, and they could have said, let's just make him the interim head coach. He's a UCLA alum, and let's figure out the actual long-term option. But they didn't do that. They said, nope, this is our guy. We're going in this direction. And from that fateful press conference at Big Ten Media Days in Indianapolis last year, it was evident to all of us this guy is not ready to be a head coach. Seems like a really great guy. He is not a head coach at this point in time. And that was obvious to a lot of people, myself included. And so now, UCLA, I'll get to what this means for Nico probably on tomorrow's show, but is he staying at UCLA? Is he going to stick around? Is Nico going to be in the portal again? We might be doing that again when the one-time portal window that's not confirmed, but it looks like it's going in that direction come Monday. Anyway, that's a discussion for a different day. For today's discussion, I want to talk about some of the names that I've seen get tossed around for this UCLA job that a lot of people are going to look at and say, this is a horrible job. Why would you want that job? Oh my gosh, it's so terrible. They can't fill up their stadium. That's true. Do they have the proper commitment to football? I have questions about that. But most of all, it's just a program that is bottomed out. And you may wonder, who wants to take that job? Who wants to... Let me throw these names at you. Clark Lee. Who wants the Vanderbilt job, right? They're ranked inside the top 20 nationally this week. Who wants to take the Indiana job? Oh, look, there's another top 25 program. If you are the right sort of coach for college football and you have a true belief in what your process is, then yes, you will go and take a lower level job. Because I'm sure plenty of names will get thrown out and you'll hear people's response. I've already heard this from plenty of Oregon fans out there say, oh, so-and-so's not going to take that. Will Stein would never take the UCLA job. An opportunity to coach in the Big Ten? Why did Barry Odom leave UNLV for Purdue? Because if you believe in yourself as a head coach, You just need an opportunity. You just need an opportunity, and you need to try and change things. And UCLA needs to change things. There's no doubt about it. They need a stronger commitment to football. But I want to talk about some of the names that have been thrown out there. I want to start with D'Anton Lynn, USC's defensive coordinator. He was UCLA's defensive coordinator first. He is really good. He wouldn't have to move. He's got ties to the area, of course. He's been coaching in the city for the last several years. That has to be a name that is near the top of the list if he's interested in becoming a head coach. Another one, a guy who played at UCLA and is currently helping undergo a massive renovation on the other side of the country, is Tony White at Florida State. The defensive coordinator has been a stud at that particular position for the last several years, going back to his time at Nebraska, now at Florida State. I would absolutely have Tony White on the list. I also wonder about Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen is at UNLV, and they also don't have, reportedly, the greatest financial situation. But guess what? When you're going into the Big Ten, it doesn't matter which conference you're coming from, you are likely to see a massive upgrade in salary. Don't forget that. Some guys are willing to take that risk when you factor in, yeah, I'm going to, triple my salary here? And I'm going to be in control, and I'm going to be in Los Angeles, which has a ton of high school recruiting talent. The recruiting potential at UCLA is immense. It's absolutely immense. It's way beyond what we have seen so far. You get the right coach in there, and yeah, you could absolutely see UCLA be a perennial top 20 recruiter in the high school ranks in the country. And if they can get their NIL collective in a situation that makes them actually committed to winning in football, then yeah, they could go out and bring in some portal talent as well. I mean, Nico is there, for goodness sake. And Nico's not the savior of UCLA football. I never saw him that way. But the fact that you can draw that level of talent is a testament. You can think that Nico's not a great quarterback, and that's perfectly fine and all that sort of stuff. You can't deny that he is one of the most talented prospects at the position in the entire country. He just doesn't have a situation around him that allows him to succeed. Maybe if he went to like a quarterback-friendly system that runs the ball, maybe like in the SEC or something like that, that could work out. But anyway, I'd look at those two names. Another name that'll get tossed around here, Jonathan Smith at Michigan State, is from Pasadena originally. He's also coached on the West Coast a lot at Washington and at Oregon State. As an OC and head coach, I don't think he would take the job. Not because of the reasons that some people might think, UCLA is a horrible, terrible job. He's got a big opportunity this week against USC to get a landmark sort of win as Michigan State's head coach. When you're just in the midst of a rebuild, do you want to go and start over again? I don't know why he would want to do that. So that's going to be a popular name that could get tossed around. I don't think Jonathan Smith would do it. I don't think Jonathan Smith should do it at this point in time. Maybe in 3 years, maybe for the next UCLA head coach, if whoever gets hired only lasts for a few seasons and Jonathan Smith is, winning but not elevating Michigan State the way they want, and they would agree to part ways. Yeah, maybe I could see that. Another name that will get tossed around, PJ Fleck at Minnesota, who is a good coach. Lost to Cal this weekend because Cal has one of the best quarterbacks in the country that no one really knows about. I do. Jaren Kiave-Sangopolotele is an absolute superstar, true freshman left-handed quarterback this year. Think Tua, but it doesn't look as funky with his mechanics at times, and his mobility is really good. And by the way, Tua doesn't have that funky mechanics. It's just JKS is an absolute stud. So those are names that I think you're going to hear get tossed around. There will be others. Certainly. I think PJ Fleck could be a good candidate. I don't know if he wants to leave Minnesota. It's a decent job. The floor at Minnesota he's established is a lot higher than what he would have at UCLA. I think the ceiling at UCLA is higher than Minnesota. So I think he'd consider it. He's been there for a long time. Might feel like, I've maxed out what I can accomplish here, and I want to go down and try something new and build them up. Maybe. Those are just some of the names. There will be other ones thrown out there, but D'Anton Lynn and Tony White, to me, should be the names that are near the top of the list for UCLA. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. UCLA fans, who do you want? I'm not here to gloat. I'm done. I'm past that. Let's look forward. let's look forward. I recognize the potential of the program. I'm sure many of you do as well. But let me know your thoughts below. Who do you want to see hired as UCLA's next football coach? Virginia Tech has the same question. And Virginia Tech, you need to hear what we have to say next about Virginia Tech. First, this episode brought to you by the Game Cap. Quick question for all of you college football fans out there. If you could go back in time and sit front row at your school's biggest rivalry game, what hat would you be wearing? And yes, I said hat. For me, it would be the game. These aren't just hats. They're the same vintage styles fans wore back in the 80s and 90s. Do you miss the olden days? Do you want to grab onto that? The Game Caps is the way to do it. And guess what? They still go for the same price they did back then. When you use code LOCKEDON, you will get your vintage hat for $16.99. Nice little discount there. Head to thegamecaps.com. That's thegamecaps, all one word, lowercase.com, and get your hat today. Grab your team's classic bar or retro circle design and use the code LOCKEDON for an exclusive discount because legends wear the game. This episode is also brought to you by our friends at 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What you'll love most about them is how portable they are. You can fit them in your hand, in your wallet, in your pocket, in your bag. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. Maybe it's midday at work. Maybe it's at the turn on the golf course. Maybe it's before a workout. Whatever it is, 5 Hour Energy is here to give you that boost. Enough with the boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in-store and online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Check them out at 5hourenergy.com. It's not a good week for coaches that were on the brink of being fired because they're being let go. Brent Pry out at Virginia Tech. Kenton Gibbs of Locked On ACC is here to discuss. This had to happen. Kenton, this had to happen. You know, Virginia Tech had a challenging start to the season with 2 SEC opponents. They should have been able to beat at least one. They were not playing world beaters. They played South Carolina and Vandy. They lost both of them. That was disappointing. The 34-0 run at home against Vanderbilt is one thing, but trailing 31-0 to Old Dominion in Blacksburg, Kenton, is simply put unacceptable. We're hiding one of the best traditions in college football and Enter Sandman because who wants to watch it when the product that's going to be on the field is unwatchable? So Brent Pry is out. This needed to happen. I thought they'd be able to continue the trajectory they had after his first couple of years. Your instant reaction to Brent Pry being out as Virginia Tech's head coach?
Quick question, Spencer. What year were you born?
1997. I am 28.
Okay, 1997. I'm a little bit older than you, just a hair. I know that's ironic for me to say because I'm bald, but I'm just a hair older than you.
You look a solid 12 years older than me, but I look 10 years younger than I am.
Knock it off. Knock it off now. But let me give you a very interesting stat about how proud the Virginia Tech tradition is. From the year that I was born, 1995, up through 2011, they had 4 seasons of winning less than 10 games. Do you think they missed a bowl in any of those years?
Probably just once.
No, not a single time.
Not a single
The
time.
lowest win total in there was 7. Do you think that any of those teams were getting blown out by ODU?
No.
Of course not.
That was unthinkable.
ODU has 3 wins all time against Power 4 teams. Do you know how many teams they beaten?
Just the one.
Just the damn one. I do not understand how, and this is a very genuine place that I'm coming from here, because the lunch pail, Beamer Bowl, all the Virginia Tech represented for so long. I'm a kid born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I was just a college football maniac as I've been for quite some time, and I knew about the lunch pail. I knew about what it meant to be a Virginia Tech defender. I knew about what it meant and the pride that went into Beamer Ball. And now they're giving up touchdowns on punt returns instead. And now they're down 31-0 to a group of 16. What are we? This is Brent Pry is a phenomenal human being. He's a great man. I've not heard a bad word about him in terms of his character. I haven't. Unfortunately, as I can't remember what NFL exec it was, but I remember the quote being, "If Hannibal Lecter could make a tackle, we just say he had an eating problem." It's not about being a good man. It's about winning football games. Now, ideally, you'd like your head coach to do both, right? Ideally, you want a great guy that wins football games. And yet, Petrino still gets coaching jobs everywhere. You see what I'm saying? You catch my drift?
It turns out winning solves a lot of problems on and off the field.
That's the thing that's most important. And they wanted a coach who could recruit the 757. And instead, you're getting dominated by a team from the 757. You cannot have that happen. Virginia Tech is the preeminent brand in the state of Virginia in terms of football. That's just a fact. They are in a hotbed of talent in Virginia, in the DMV, in that area. You are in a hotbed of talent. He was a decent recruiter, but when it came to game day execution, it felt like Groundhog's Day every year with Kyron Jones in that offense. Oh, this is the year. Kyron Jones is going to get it together. This is the year. He's going to do it. This is the year. Oh, defensively, this is the year. They got all these seniors. Oh, they got all this production coming back. And what do we see? Down 31-0. When you say ODU let off the gas, if you have to use that phrase as a Power 14, your head coach is not long for his job. And clearly, Pry was not long for his, as he's now on Indeed. But you know what? We do have a spot for you because we're looking for a former coach on Locked On ACC. So, Coach Pry, if you did want to come on, I know the wound is fresh. I get it. The wound is fresh. If you need a couple weeks, need a month to decide, take your time, but we gladly have you on. We don't have the budget, so you got to do it pro bono, but we know you got about $6 million. We know you sitting on about $6 million.
Hey, he's all right. He's doing all right. I think you make a number of really good points. The pride of Virginia Tech. They fall into the category for me, Kenton, of sleeping giant in a particular conference. This has been applied to a number of schools over the years. The most prominent Power 4 example is Florida. Another one that has gotten themselves back on the plus side of things is Arizona State. For a long time in the Pac-12, RIP, was always talked about in this way. Virginia Tech should be talked about in this regard because you should have the ability to do better than this. And the reason I'm glad that Virginia Tech, for their own sake, made this move is not because I have a personal axe to grind with Brent Pry. When you have a group of 5 team come in there and blow you out on your home field, it's not like they took one of those strange trips like Oklahoma going to Temple last week, which would still be bad, but at least like you're not at home. If you're losing that badly, it's a pride thing. Yeah. That means you're not going out there with the level of pride that you need to play Virginia Tech football. That means that you have quit because you lost the first 2 games of the season, which is too bad because the season wasn't over. It's not like it was you hadn't played a single conference game yet. But if you're getting blown out by Old Dominion, I'm sorry. You cannot try and turn that around. There's no justification. This is year 4. There's no explanation for it. Your quarterback is there. To your point, they feel like they're doing the same thing with Kyron Jones year in and year out, where he's not progressing as a passer. Yeah, at some point you just got to point the staff and say, nope, that's not good enough. And the defense, nope, that's not good enough either, which is supposed to be Brent Pry's calling card as a former DC. I just think that, this had the makings of a team that could ascend, and instead it is a team that descended really, really quickly. They were Bruce Wayne's dad coming to get him down in the cave on one of those hanging things or whatever it's called in Batman Begins. But instead of slowly descending down, he just cut the line Ocean's 11 style and fell to the bottom of the shaft. Like it was just all the way. This went south so unbelievably fast.
As a comic book nerd, I didn't know where you were going. I didn't know you were going to have a Thomas Wayne reference in here. But you want to talk about RIP to Thomas Wayne, because any world that he lives is not a great world for the rest of us. But that's neither here nor there. The reality is this. You are absolutely right in that they are a sleeping giant. The problem with the ACC right now is too many of those giants are still dormant. too many schools that are in great locations that have a hotbed of recruiting. That if you look at the top recruits from their state, they go on to be all conference and all American elsewhere. Those schools are not getting it right. They're just not, for whatever reason. And at the end of the day,
Georgia Tech is waking up.
Georgia Tech is waking up. And that's my point exactly.
Yes.
You look at the school down the street from NC State. That's another school that should be doing it right. Instead, you're going to get an over-the-hill guy that's going to get you a lot of clicks, but a lot of losses. You look at Virginia Tech. They did, I will say, Virginia Tech gave it their best shot. This hire at the time was lauded as an amazing hire. So I'm not going to say, oh, this is directly.
And it started well.
It did.
It started well. The first 2 years, you saw real growth and progress, and then the last two, it just.
But now the question has to be, what's going on in Blacksburg that's making success non-sustainable for these coaches? Because if you look at Fuentes, it was a very similar situation. He started off pretty well, and then all of a sudden, it just got worse and worse, and the pressure was getting worse. It just did not get better at any point in time for either one of these coaches as things progress. So there is a question in Blacksburg of what's going on. What is it in the water that coaches come here and initially the way that they want to do things, it works out fairly well, but now we're having struggles. And I will also caution this. If you are a Hokie fan, if you are a believer in Virginia Tech, if you're a person who believes college football is better when Virginia Tech is good, please know the cupboards will be as barren as they have ever been at the end of this. Like, you're firing a coach in game 3. You have UVA recruits saying, y'all know where home is if you're recruiting the state of Virginia. Now, here's the interesting fact about that.
Not good.
For as bad as Virginia Tech has been, I want you to guess. When do you think the last time Virginia beat Virginia Tech was?
2017.
2017. Let's see how close you were here, because I don't.
Oh, we're losing Kenton here momentarily. We might have to do a little audio editing. Kenton went away. Kenton is back now. Yes. When was the last time Virginia beat Virginia Tech?
It was in 2019. Do you want to know what the last time was before that?
2011.
2003.
Oof.
So since 2003, they have won 2 games against a team that they play every year. And they're talking about poaching your recruits. That's where they are. And Tony Elliott's seat ain't exactly cool for his recruits to be acting like this.
It's not, but you know what? It's clearly he's in a better spot than Brent Pry. He's still got to see. He's still. Yeah. I want to wrap this in about 60 seconds as we can, and this will, I'm sure, be an ongoing discussion. But is there one or maybe even 2 names out there that you see on the coaching carousel as this is who Virginia Tech should go hire?
You know, I'm going to say something that some Virginia Tech fans may be able to explain to me, because I would love to hear this. Their defensive line coach, J.C. Price, why is he not the guy? Every time that team is going through something, he has steered the ship as the interim coach and led them to at least look functional, led them to at least look like a serious football program while he was at the helm. He played for Virginia Tech during their heydays. He knows the pride. He knows what the lunch pail means. He is a guy that loves that place down to the ground. Why he isn't the guy, I don't know. But maybe there are people who know that and I don't. And also, in terms of the carousel, it's too early because we don't know who's going where and what jobs are going to be open. I have a feeling that other sleeping giant you mentioned earlier in the show, they may have an opening soon as well. So the dominoes falling there could determine who's available for Vate.
Yeah, Billy Napier not being very good. Wow, who could have seen that coming? Who made that prediction going back to last year? That was me. Kenton did it too. Kenton Gibbs, Locked On ACC, Locked On Wolfpack as well. I haven't yet spoken about one of the wildest games of the weekend, but I'm going to, because you need to know about what happened in Morgantown on Saturday. First, this episode brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes, all in less than 60 seconds. It's that simple. If you know who's popping off in a given week, you think Saquon Barkley's going for 250 yards on the ground, maybe you want to take him over. Maybe you think Patrick Mahomes is going under in a given game. You take him under that total. And if you're right on those picks, then you get to cash in. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 play. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. This episode also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season's here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Plus, anything college football related, maybe you want to fade my best bets every single week, and so far, I will admit, that would have been a good idea. I'm looking for a bounce back again, and I'm going to get my lines from over at FanDuel. They've got everything you need. Point spreads, point totals, over-unders on teams the rest of the year. You've got everything you could possibly want. Prop bets, they've got it all to make the NFL and college football more exciting. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Check them out at FanDuel.com. I joined my guy Mountaineer Paul over at Lockdown West Virginia to talk about the big, wild, crazy upset in the Backyard Brawl. A really impactful win for Rich Rodriguez in the Mountaineer program in his first year. Really bad look for Pitt. Definitely an outright lose sort of vibe for the Pitt fans, but for West Virginia, there's nothing better. Absolutely nothing better. We had a fun conversation. Here is what it sounded like to wrap today's show.
He just got done watching his Seahawks beat the Steelers. My dude, Spencer McLaughlin, who is just ecstatic over this win, I'm sure.
Oh, I most definitely am. I felt it appropriate to don the Seahawks jersey, given that apparently in this segment we're just dunking on Pittsburgh, and guess what? Go Hawks. Go Hawks. But yeah, instant reaction to the Backyard Brawl, man. What a football game. I mean, just wild swings to be up 14-3 and then down 24-14. You know, I was staring down the barrel of a truly disastrous week on my best bets. It was still a pretty bad week, but West Virginia was one that was one of my favorite picks because you take that many points in a rivalry game, and they got down 10, and I went, oh my goodness, how in the world? I thought this was a lot. I thought we were good to go, and then all of a sudden, they just found a way. And I mean, that drive to tie the game, I was surprised. I'll give Rich Rod his flowers on this because in the moment I was in a broadcast booth with my partner for a college football game, and I was ripping Rich Rod out loud. Not on my show, but I was saying, "How are you not going for 2?
I said the same.
You just lost to Ohio. You are playing your bitter rival. This is probably the most underrated rivalry in all of college football that does not get enough love. Yeah. How are you not going for 2? And you know what? To his credit, it worked out. They won the game. I still think he should have gone for 2. Yeah, go ahead.
His philosophy on that is we're better conditioned than you. That's why he said at the end, as longer the game goes, the better for West Virginia, because and this is no exaggeration, they do a little bit more when it comes to the conditioning side of things because of the way they play, which a lot of teams play fast. I get that. Oregon plays fast. But he puts a lot extra emphasis on being in better condition because we don't get 5-star players. So if you can be a better conditioned team than the guy across from you, I'm not disagreeing with you about going for 2 necessarily, but his point is we're in better shape. As long as the game can go, we feel like we'll start to lean on them a little bit as you go down the stretch.
Yeah, and you know what? For them to pull that out, like in a coach's first year, and I talk about this on Lockdown College Football with regards to any coach that's going to try and build a program up. What you're looking for, not just for your locker room, but for the community that you're representing, and Rich Rod represents it so incredibly well. He showed me the post-game reaction that I wasn't able to catch because I was calling a game, and it's awesome. It's just It's really, really good stuff. You can see how much it means to him. But when you are trying to endear yourself to a university, fan base, community, donors, everybody, when you get there and the program's fallen on tough times, you need a moment. You need a moment, or you need a game that makes people go, "Oh, I think he's got it. This can be it." This was that moment.
Neil Brown never had that.
Yeah, in year one for West Virginia to be beating Pitt, and they shouldn't be winning. They were underdogs at home by over a touchdown for a reason, right?
This is my point. This is my point about Narduzzi, Spencer. He's in year 11. This is our first year with 81 new players. How is Pat Narduzzi in a worse spot in year 11 in this era than Rich Rodriguez in year 1 with 81 new players?
Yeah,
should he not be on the hot seat?
I don't think so. I don't think he is there yet. I think he could get there if the rest of the season snowballs downward. Then I think Narduzzi can find himself on a warmer seat. Obviously, we've seen programs willing to put the axe to coaches this year because Brent Pry out of Virginia Tech, pretty sure that became all but official. With the last report I saw, it's official. The last report I had seen was
which is great for us.
They're planning to.
That's our second biggest rival.
And DeShaun Foster out at UCLA, this is kind of Black Monday for coaches at the moment. And Narduzzi not being gone, I think is representative of the fact that he will get the rest of the year to try and figure it out. So I think for him, because he's got more equity behind him than those coaches had, Brent Pry was in a, hey, you need to win this year, and then you got trounced by Old Dominion. Okay, you're done. DeShaun Foster was, hey, things aren't looking really good. What's going? You lost to UNLV. Boom. You got housed by New Mexico at home. This is not working anymore.
Yeah, running Montana for however many millions.
Yeah, I do think, to the fairness of your question, Narduzzi could be fired one day, and you can look back and say this was a contributing factor. But he wasn't one game away. Okay, those coaches were one horrible outcome away, and make no mistake, in a rivalry spot, boy, that is not a good look. It's a really, really bad look. But I want to pivot this back to the positive for West Virginia here and how good they should feel, because I don't even know if West Virginia makes a bowl game this year. They could. It's certainly possible. But you know what? Here's the thing. Even if they don't, this season is now a success. As long as they don't lose every other game, as long as they just win one or two, they go 4. What are they sitting 2-1 right now?
Yeah,
or 1-2, 2-1,
2-1,
2-1. Okay, if they go 4-8 this year, you can view this as a success. As long as they get 1 or 2 Big 12 conference wins, which I think their schedule could allow the opportunity to do. Big 12 is a very deep conference, as we know. Then you view this as a success because of this game. There are not that many games in college football that allow
for more than one.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it. This counts for. I don't know that you could even put an exact number on it, because there's the emotional component in the rivalry, and it was at home. You didn't go do this on the road. Everybody that was in Morgantown on Saturday night is going to remember that moment forever. And if Rich Rod gets West Virginia back to where they're capable of being, which is towards the top of the Big 12, you're going to look back at this game and say, that's when it all started. That's when we all knew. And another great example of this that's Big 12 adjacent is Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State. In his second year, I didn't think they'd beat ASU, but I did say all offseason, they're going to beat somebody that nobody expects them to. And that was Arizona State. And Mississippi State should be ranked right now. They beat a preseason top 12 team, and they're undefeated right now, and yet they're not ranked. Why? Because the AP voting system is
broken,
of course,
totally.
It's incredibly flawed, always has been, because people are asked to do, I think, far too much. And so for West Virginia, this is that sort of moment. Like a first-year head coach, you're looking for a moment, a game, a win. It's usually a victory. I guess it could come in another form, but really it's a win. That's kind of that landmark. Okay, we're here, we're doing this, and you should all believe in what we are able to do because of this outcome. And that is how that's how this landed to me when I saw West Virginia not just win the game, but to come back. I think there are a lot of coaches, a lot of staffs against a team that should be able to beat you on your home field, down 10 points in the fourth quarter. Boy, it got to that point right in the fourth quarter. Like that was That's a
Kent's
moment where
it was like 21 points.
Yeah, there are a lot of teams that when you give up 21 unanswered points are looking around going, oh, well, guess we just don't have it. Nope. Year 1, game 3, West Virginia already having that. Outstanding result for West Virginia. Few teams had as good of a win on Saturday as West Virginia did, even though the stakes from a national standpoint were not as high. Wasn't as high profile of a game as Tennessee, Georgia. Wasn't as high profile of a win as South Florida beating Florida the week before. It wasn't on that level because Pitt was not a preseason top 25 team. But for them to have pulled this off is, I think, just such a testament to what Rich Rod has already established there in Morgantown.
Yeah, I 1,000% agree. And especially because it's against Pitt, like you said. It just means more against them. Even Rich Rod admitted that after the game. Most coaches stick to the script like it's just a game. Rich Rod this is the first time I've ever seen him let him go. Like this was an 18-year monkey on his back. Like he got a standing ovation from the press when he came in. It just doesn't happen. You've been in plenty of those, right?
Yeah. That's not common.
Like, we understand that like this is the team you were about to lose. You're about to lose and go into a hiatus with for 3 years. And this is coming off the loss in 2007 that put you out of the Natty. So there was a lot riding on this. Obviously, I appreciate your insights on it, man. You gave me a lot of good points. Always love having you on, man. Let everybody know where they can find you really quick.
Locked On College Football on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. And I'm on Twitter at @SMcLaughlinCFB. If you ever want to tell me that I'm a genius or I'm the opposite of a genius, hey, I'm here for it. By all means.
He likes the debate.
I love the interaction.
Doesn't bother him. He's a pretty thick-skinned guy.
Debate is good. Debate is good, fun, and healthy in college football.
Yeah, and we learned that very, very well this week. I think it's a great way to end it. Real quick before you go, Zach Alley earning his money on defense for West Virginia, right?
I mean,
$2 million
yes.
We paid him to come from Oklahoma.
Yes,
you know,
I don't know how. I don't think you could feel anything but really optimistic with everything right now. Like in this particular moment after that game, you can nitpick. The offense went into a lull, but then came alive in the fourth quarter. Okay, you want to see more consistency on the offensive side of the ball with Mark Yell at quarterback. But overall, there's nothing you could look at right now with West Virginia. Ride high. Ride high. That's my advice to Mountaineer fans. Ride high, live in it, enjoy it. This is your week. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time. And until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.